Hey everyone, welcome to One Awesome Autistic, and a special welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you very much for clicking subscribe and all the likes on my videos. I do very much appreciate it. It kind of makes it feel like me doing these videos is worthwhile. Kind of a bit of mess to this, sorry if I'm a little bit twitchy, but my fringe kind of needs cutting, so it's a little bit over my eyes, but if I sweep it to the side, I don't know if it's just going to look ridiculous or not. I'm trying to so I'm just very fidgety with it, and I'm very fidgety today anyway, because after this video I've got quite an important phone call, so my anxiety is sky high. I'm out of diazepam, which I didn't realise until too late, so I can't get any to calm me down. My normal anxiety tablets are not working, so that's really helpful. And I've been awake since 5:30 this morning after having a very bad nightmare, so fantastic. But I wanted to kind of talk about the idea of how easy or how hard it is to change career late in life, and then the kind of added complication of also being autistic on top of that. I never wanted to work retail. I hate retail, but it's the only thing that I have experience in. Now, when I was at school, I always wanted to be a forensic scientist, and this was way before the days of like CSI and things like that, and there was only kind of like one course available, and I didn't realise at the time that the way that I was feeling was obviously due to being autistic. So when I left school, I started college, and I was doing chemistry and biology and all those sorts of things, A-levels, so that I would then go on to university. But I completely burnt out, freaked out, everything all in one. I was also in my first ever serious relationship, and that was kind of quite difficult because it was quite a controlling relationship as well. So a couple of months into college I ended up actually changing my A-levels because I was finding everything too difficult to cope with, and I obviously never went on to do anything, and I got very kind of generic A-levels. So the difficulty that leaves me in right now is that if I wanted to pursue being a forensic scientist, is I have nothing towards it. And there are a lot of kind of hurdles in the way that are easily overcome by your neurotypical people, but are harder to overcome for somebody like me who, as well as being autistic, is still awaiting an ADHD diagnosis, so I can't concentrate on things easily. Now, some of the hurdles I have started to overcome, and I'm getting a bit more information about, but going from where I am now to being a qualified forensic scientist is just a lot of information, and a few times in the past couple of months looking and researching have said, I give up, I'm not going to do it. It's impossible, it's going to be too hard, I'm not going to be able to get there. My last resort before giving up is actually to resort to social media and ask kind of other people who may be in the same situation as me or may have some experience in these fields what I can do. So my first hurdle was the fact that I need science A-levels. I need 3 of them, and I need quite good grades. I need A, B and B, something like that, or whatever the equivalent is nowadays. And to be able to do those, couldn't find anywhere that looked legitimate to do them at home. The nearest college to me is a bus ride and a walk away, and it's the fact of going to college and doing 3 A-levels and trying to get them done in a year would be practically full time, and because I need to work to earn money, it's not possible for me to do that. There's also the cost of the course. If I wasn't to get funding, each A-level is over £2,000, so I'm looking at having to spend £7,000, which I obviously don't have. Obviously if I got funding, then that would be fine. It was going to end up being me doing 1 A-level a year and going to college for 3 years, which obviously I'm 36 now, that would mean I won't be finished that until I'm 39, which means I'd be knocking on 40 before I'd be even starting at university. So I wanted to narrow that time down a bit. Now luckily, somebody online who has gone roughly the same route as me gave me some great advice, and there is actually a course you can do if you're over a certain age that is called Access to Higher Education. There is a college that is it's quite a bus ride, so it would make it very difficult for me to go to college, but I'm trying to work around that, and I'll talk about that in a second. It's only a year long, and if I didn't get funding for it, it is just over £3,000, which is doable because I could possibly work out a payment. I do have some savings. Once me and Aaron move in together, I will have excess money every month, so I could possibly pay it off throughout the year. I also get money at Christmas and birthdays, and if I wasn't starting, even if I was starting this year, that's not far off Christmas, so if I could put payment back a little bit, I could use some of that money as well. So there would be ways around it, but it's 450 hours at college, it's 3 days a week. My job needs me to be flexible enough. If I then, a few months into the job, turn around and say, well, it's 3 days a week, I can't work, that's not going to look very good. And if I do need to do overtime, it's going to very limit me. So I need to be able to do overtime every now and again to earn more money to pay for the cost. But I have contacted them. My email has been forwarded to the relevant people, and I've basically asked, and I have turned around and said that I'm somebody with an autism spectrum disorder diagnosis, and being in a college setting is too overwhelming and too distracting for me, and is there any way that I could do at least a portion of the course at home? If they turn around and say to me, well, you'd have to come in once a week, but you can do the rest of it at home, I will do that. I am happy with that. I will do it. So if I forget everything else and forget everything else I have to do and just think this one step, if I can get this qualification, and especially if I can get funding for it, then that's one hurdle done at least. Now the other big hurdles are, where I live it's a smallish town. It's surrounded by a fair bit of like countryside and then other smaller towns and things like that. I'm not that close to a big town, and I'm not close to universities. There's two that I can travel to. One is Nottingham-Trent University and one of them is Derby University. Derby would be my second choice, but on bus it would only take an hour to get there. Nottingham-Trent would be my first choice because it is ranked higher for the course I want to do, but it would take 2 hours on buses to get there. So the next hurdle is travelling. Even the Derby University, if I need to be there early, then there's more traffic, it's going to take me longer on the buses. If there was a bus cancelled, I would be late, and it would leave me very, very flustered. So the next hurdle is travelling there, and there is the potential for me to do driving lessons, but I would only be able to afford that if I got funding for university. I cannot go to university unless I get funded, even if it is loans. So that would be my next hurdle. But obviously driving lessons, that is something that I could do. I have done driving lessons in the past. It's just, again, not knowing that I'm autistic and I've got ADHD, I couldn't understand why I couldn't get myself round to doing the theory test and things like that, because I did quite a lot of driving lessons and I became quite a good driver. So I think it will be easier for me to pick up and I won't need as many lessons. I definitely do need my ADHD diagnosis and medication to be able to concentrate to drive, to be able to concentrate to do the exams. The access course, because it's only a year, it is going to be hard for me to concentrate. However, if I'm at the college 1 day a week, then I can ask for some help and get myself motivated. I have an advantage that because I have hyperlexia, I read fast, I take information in fast, and I work faster. So I can typically get things done at a faster pace, which is another reason why I don't like being in the classroom, because I get really, really bored because we have to move at everybody else's pace that I'm already done, and I'm sat there waiting for everybody else. I get bored, and I have no patience when I'm bored, so I get irritated and all negative emotions, and then I don't want to go back and I end up quitting. So I need to be able to do things at my own pace. But these hurdles are all doable, at least. But for somebody who's neurotypical, those hurdles are very, very easy to overcome, and they're actually not hurdles, but for people who are autistic, they are. And I'm hoping that if I set out on this process and I start doing it and I do the access course, that I will get some help along the way. Now, there is some good news. I have put an application form in and should be receiving some funded help finally. I got in touch with, I think it's like Autism Derbyshire or something like that they're called, and they're based in the next sort of like biggest town over. The funding isn't great, but it's better than nothing. I would qualify for 5 hours a month for 6 months, which has come at the perfect timing because those 5 hours a month will help me get all these things done. Forms filled in, what else do I need to look for, funding forms filled in. It's somebody that can help with all those things. If I do start college, then I can get help with the college work, which will be my biggest hurdle of getting things done. I will get help with that from the college, hopefully. So fingers crossed everything works out how it should. If I qualify to be a forensic scientist, this is something that it is my special interest. I've been obsessed with true crime my whole life. I was reading pathology books at 13 and 14, and I have a book that is very, very expensive. It's at my mum's house, so I'll have to get it back, but it shows you how to do an autopsy and everything, and these were the things I was reading as a late teenager. So really should have been a sign of my autism, but was more just seen as a sign of me being a bit weird and quirky. As a bonus, if I want to, it would cost me money, but it's like £250. Cambridge University are doing online courses. You don't really get a credited kind of qualification, but it is something extra, and they do a short course on toxins, which would be very interesting to do and would possibly help me get onto the course because it's a little bit extra as well. That starts this month, so I'm going to look into possibly doing that course. But if you are thinking about changing your career into anything and you need some help and advice, go to social media, ask around, go directly to colleges and universities and ask them, ask what you need, what's your alternative, what's the easiest route, what's the cheapest route. Just ask questions, and this can all be done in email as well, so you don't have to phone anybody, but it is worth it if it means that you are more financially stable, or that you're doing a job that you actually enjoy and benefits your mental health, rather than doing a job which is detrimental on your mental health. But that is it from me today. Hope you guys all have a good week. I shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.